So I've been reading Listen Liberal by Thomas Frank, and I want to thank him, which I don't know if he'll ever see this, but I think he may have significantly changed the path of my life by what he's written. I am not perfect. I'm not a professional. I didn't go to school for journalism. I don't know how to do an outline for a show. I have attempted many times to do so. But I find I work best when I just kind of wing it. And no matter how hard I try to be a professional, no matter how hard I try to adhere to the lines of what I think a journalist is supposed to be, I can't. And maybe that's because I am not what a journalist is these days. I try to be, like some of the other guys I've seen on YouTube, like The Humanist. I think he's great. Or Jimmy Dore, I try to do that. I try to be like Jank sometimes. But I'm just trying to be me. And this book talks about professionalism and basically how our society has come to look down on anyone who isn't a professional, and has created a whole class of professionals that are naturally liberal, so they kind of like run the Democratic Party now. And I try really hard to be the professional, to do the work of a professional without actually having the background of one. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because I bought a $900 camera, $130 microphone, mic stand, editing software, everything like that, because I wanted to seem professional. I wanted to seem like I knew what I was doing. But I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm scared. And when I think about going out and covering stories in real time, it terrifies me. And when I think about being criticized or being wrong, it terrifies me. But I think being wrong has taught me more than anything. And I welcome criticism. I try to. This video doesn't really have a main point because you know what? I didn't do an outline for it. Because I didn't take a class on journalism. I didn't take a class on how to do a show. I'm not a producer. I'm not a writer. I mean, I write, but I'm not a writer. Am I? I don't know. What do you consider a writer? Is it if they went to college? Is it if they've been published? This book kind of makes me question not only what is a journalist, but what is a professional? And instead of trying to figure out what quotes I'm going to read when, I just want to read one quote that I found. And I made sure that I circled it because I want to remember it forever. If I could just... Those who succeed in a professional discipline are those who best absorb and apply its master narrative. And when I hear that, I think about, there are professionals in my life who have not fit in with the other crowd of professionals. I have a friend who is a social worker who now has to run her own business because every time she tries to work through an agency, she gets treated like shit. Because she does therapy based on the people, based on, individual circumstances, not based on the book. And when I think about that, and I think about me trying to understand where I should go to school, if I don't go to a serious enough college, am I going to be taken seriously? If I don't go to college at all, am I going to be taken seriously? I've taught myself so much since I dropped out of high school that it makes me question whether or not I even need college other than that piece of paper that tells other people that I'm smart. And that is exactly what my dad said to me when I asked him whether or not I can drop out of school. Son, he used to tell me that no one has ever asked him for his high school diploma. He used to tell me that I should lie on my job applications that I got it or that I got my GED because no one's ever going to actually look it up. And it's this status. It's a status symbol. When you look at the expensive amount, the I don't know what the word is because I didn't go to college. I didn't even finish high school. But that's the thing. That's why I read. That's why I use the internet. That's why I go to the library when I can. Because I know I dropped out of high school. And I know how hard college would be for me. And I don't know if college would inspire me to keep learning or if it would crush that in me. Because that's exactly what school did. As soon as I dropped out of school, I wanted to learn. Because I knew I could choose what I learned when I learned it, what I learned, and how I learned it. If I try to read this book instead of reading along to the audiobook, it'd be a lot harder for me, and I probably wouldn't be making this video. But I understand how I learn best. I best know myself. That sounded weird. But I know myself best is what I meant. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone from going to college. I just want to present my view which is Thomas Frank's view, I think, is that just because you don't have a degree or you didn't go to a fancy college doesn't mean that my work doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that I'm not capable of exposing the truth or speaking truth to power. Just because I didn't finish high school doesn't mean that what I'm saying doesn't have any merit. It's not about where the information comes from, but whether or not that information is accurate. I know I'm guilty of this, and a lot of my progressive friends are guilty of this, of writing off news if it comes from a certain site. But that's the problem, is that we need to be looking at the information and the source of the information, not just what website presents it. And I know that's kind of the same thing as the source, but the websites that have been presenting evidence of Russian hacking, all their sources are anonymous, but people take that as credited credible because it comes from MSNBC or the New York Times. But nobody's perfect. And experts especially are not perfect. And that's another thing the book goes into, is how many times experts can be wrong, but because they have that degree, because they're experts, it's okay. But if people like me, if people like Jordan Sheridan, if people like Jimmy Dore fuck up, that's the end. Because we don't have a degree, because we're not the experts. And it's a really interesting book. I would really recommend it. I'm not finished reading it, but I'm probably going to be doing more videos on it. And I've tried to do this video a couple times. But my problem is trying to be something I'm not. Trying to be something I think everyone else wants me to be. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I lose my train of thought. Sometimes the video is going to jump around because that's just the way my brain works. And talking to the camera makes me nervous. It always has. Being trans my whole life, I've just wanted to be in the dark, silence, alone. But that's starting to kill me. Literally. So I don't want to do that anymore. And I'm tired of trying to adhere to some standard that I don't even know entirely is valid. So this is woke as fuck. I originally started doing it with someone I genuinely love, but she's not here. I need somebody who's here. And if I can't find anybody, then I'll keep doing it by myself, as hard as it is. I keep thinking bringing someone else in will make me seem more professional. Well, at least then, if it's messy, it's not exactly just my fault. But for better or for worse, this is my show. And I'm just a regular citizen like everyone watching this video. And I want you to know that if you have that passion to do something, no matter what it is, you can do it. Even without the education, you can teach yourself. Don't ever underestimate the power you have. I know I did. And every day I look around and I remember how much power I have. And the only thing I want to do with it is give power to other people. So if you have a story, if you have a concern, let me know. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have you heard about professionalism, the professional class? What do you think about it? Have you read Listen Liberal? I know I had to go around to a couple Barnes & Nobles to find one copy, which was the last copy. So I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. And if you're feeling alone, just remember, we all want the same thing. To be loved, to be happy, and to be able to provide for the ones that we love. So if you're feeling lonely, I'm sure there's somebody out there who feels just like you do. So happy holidays. Please be safe. And please, I want to know what you think. Tell me. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. Stay woke.